SAP TechEd is SAP's technical event on a yearly basis where all the latest and greatest is announced. And it was always on 3 locations in the world, in America, in Europe and in India. But last year, 1 month ago, it was in Bangalore in India. And yeah, I'm quite curious on what is all have been announced at SAP TechEd. In our HANA Café, we have a visitor today. It's Iver van der Zand, and he was in India, in Bangalore, right?
I was the lucky one.
Yeah, he was the lucky one. And Iver, I think a lot of people know you already, at least if you have visited SAP Inside Track in the Netherlands, because you are a well-known speaker at our little event Inside Track in the Netherlands, CityNL in short. But you are the SAP CTO for EMEA, and you drive innovation and integration with SAP technology. And before that, you are really the planning and analytics guy. You breed planning and analytics data, and that's your whole life.
So well, spot on, And so what I do is, I'm a colleague of yours, both of you, of course. And Twan, if my neighbor asks me what I'm doing, I always tell you have people who look after the euros and the money, and you have people who look after the content. And I think the 3 of us are more focused on the content when it comes to BTP and the technology and the value propositions and that kind of stuff. So that is where I'm focused on, and that is also my role in Europe, to try to give that a kind of a leadership. But I think for me, most important for me, the tech is in the heart. It's passionate all the way. Yeah, I really like it. And Hans, I also went to TechEd to have a look on what they presented there.
Yeah, and you're also very active on LinkedIn, also on technology, SAP technology. You have the SAP Business Technology Platform Practitioners group, which is really active. And on top of that, you're also really a nice person. Welkom to HANA Café de Netherlands.
HANA Café Nederland is een podcast met nieuws vanuit de SAP-wereld. In het café spreken de gasten en stamgasten over ontwikkelingen, innovaties, events of praten ze gewoon weer eventjes bij. Laten we snel naar binnen gaan.
Ja, welcome to HANA Café, welcome to our little cafe. And what I forgot to mention about SAP TechEd is also the place where the community unites again. And that's something that... hopefully we can do also on a bigger scale in the future again. But you went to SAP TechEd.
Yeah, so you say the community unites, you could literally see it. Yes, I didn't count the people, but I think 10, 12,000 or something that we have over there. And you feel the passion, of course, for the people attending. There was no session that was not overbooked.
Okay.
Everything was overbooked. Yeah, it's pretty impressive to go. Of course, if you... a lot of Indian attendees is there, very highly educated, smart people, super enthusiastic, and it, what impression it gave to me?
Yeah.
Fan day.
Really?
What?
Fan day.
Fan day, yeah.
And by the way, also my personal observation to communities, I think you need to go almost to that kind of thing. You mentioned LinkedIn group, that's only a mini part of it, but in the end, I think when people are enthusiastic, they really believe in the tech and the use cases. It's fun to discuss. Look at us. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So it's also why we a few years ago came up with the Inside Track in the Netherlands to have an event, a local event, a smaller event to discuss what you have learned at SAP TechEd.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we still do. So
this is really the vibe that we currently always look at. When we talk about things like TechEd, it's like you mentioned before. It's really like the 3 of us, content guys. But it seems that if it comes with content and if it's in the heart, it's like you're always happy to see your family again and always willing to share, always willing to absorb all the information that's there. Talking about absorption of the content there was a lot. I can still remind me, there was this guy, Thorsten Frans.
Yeah,
he was also a member of the community. He said the amount of information that you get at the TechEd is like drinking from the fire hose.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I also need a few days after SAP TechEd to
calm down,
process to process everything I've heard and learned and seen and met people, and that's wonderful.
I think what I can only confirm being there. You've seen everything as well, of course. Good thing is that it's there are people already helping a bit summarizing here and there. So there is we also on the viral networks we share a few things that try to summarize. So if you really can't find in the zoo of information, you can't find your direction, I think there's already some guidance. But
we can take that in the show notes. We can add some links to more information. But
Sure.
today we are in the cafe, in our HANA Café, to discuss SAP TechEd. Maybe to start with, and then we can see what you all have, what you have learned in Bangalore. But Jan, what is your top 3 of topics for SAP TechEd this year?
Top 3.
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 1. Okay, I think number 1 would be the whole notion of fusion development. I like that term a lot because previously we were talking about things like coding and ABAP and Python and Java and UI5 and all that kind of thing, and they had a lot of interest from the community. Later on, we were starting to talk about low-code and no-code practices, and they gained quite some popularity as well. And it seems that
your
these were
second topic, or is it still?
no, it's the same. It's still the same. I'm just
Still
trying
at
to.
number 1.
I'm just trying to explain
The
why
top
it's
3
number
is
1.
usually short, right?
Top 3 is sure. Okay. Anyway, just let me finish up. So, talking about fan days, I noticed that if you look at the crowd that was into low code, no code, and the crowd that was looking into coding, it was like 2 different churches. And now with fusion development, they seem to get together, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah. Ooh.
Drum roll?
No.
No, okay. Number 2, that was the infusion of AI. I think the infusion of AI has been huge everywhere. It's been all over the place. Of course, with all trend going on in IT with ChatGPT as one of the leaders, I think, been all over the place. Seeing it everywhere, from Joule to code to CapGPT, kind of like the code generations and stuff. Okay. Anyhow, we'll probably get there again later on in the episode. Number 3, I think the edge integration cell, where integration is somehow getting some sort of a feature parity with what we used to have on-premise. So the on-premise version of I was about to say cloud platform integration, but of course it's now integration suite. And I think the rebranding might be a reason for this hybrid approach where we run edge integration cell in on-premise and in VPCs as well.
Yeah,
so really cool things.
Yeah,
I like my top 3.
Yeah. And before we go to you, Iver, maybe I can share mine. I have on 3. I have the low-code, no-code, low-code, pro-code. So as you as you just described. Live show, right? And
everyone fell on the floor.
Niet spelling met je pen. Low-code, no-code, low-code, pro-code. So the fusion development on 3. On 2, it's the generative AI everywhere, like I just explained with Joule, but also in, for example, in business process automation, you can generate business rules, you can generate a process based on just English instead of one programming language. And then we have also on number 1, what would that be? Since I'm also doing a fellowship, it is the enterprise automation topic.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, enterprise automation, which is of course combines Signavio, integration suite, and business process automation.
Nice.
Yeah. That's my top 3. Looks some similar.
You have overlaps.
Yeah. Iver, what's your top 3?
So I had a bit time to think, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2 top 3s. Yeah. So my first top 3 is on 1 AI, on 2 AI, and on 3 AI. That's my first list. Spot on, Jan.
Okay.
AI was everywhere, even beyond Gen AI. It is everywhere, and I think we need to chat a bit about it. Now, to answer your question, Twan, if I need to pick one, I'm gonna put on number 3 sub-build code. I really like that. Yeah. So I saw a few things that you need to explain me. You're a top champ in that, but what I've seen over there, that
Twan is actually doing a fellowship there.
my dear,
Not with build code.
really impressive.
Build process automation.
Number 2 is a bit, my own favorite topic. I'm in the data and analytics space, and I'm completely overwhelmed on what we do with hyperscaler interoperability and keeping things in context. So we launched for DataSphere. It's called Easy Onboarding. Yeah, so it takes all the context, all the logic from a source, S4 or whatever, directly into the data warehouse. Yeah, so you don't have to do a lot anymore. And the number one, I'm with you. Edge integration cell for integration suite.
really cool,
for
isn't
me,
it?
that is if you see the need in the market, huge. Potential is huge.
Yeah, just before the recording of our podcast today, I had a call with a customer in the Netherlands, and they had some issues with integration and which on the production floor.
Mhm.
So I discussed, hey, let's look at integration cell, edge integration cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really cool use cases. More and more use cases are popping up. It's really cool. But Iver, from a data aficionado, I would have expected something about the vector engine on HANA as well.
Yeah.
But Twan asked for 3. Yes, I heard.
Oh, that's number 4.
I thought he said top 30. Twan.
That could be. Could be.
No, yeah. So vector engine. Maybe a few words to explain. A little
Let's
bit how I
now
understood
go into all the things that you have learned.
what
at
it is.
TechEd.
So
What is the
one
vector
of the
engine?
announcement was indeed HANA Vector Engine. And what are we talking about here? The thing is primarily focused on unstructured data. So think around pictures and text and what have you. And of course, if you want to organize that in a database, they do that with vectors. And the cool thing is that HANA Vector Engine has is limitless in dimensions. So limitless in dimensions, and those dimensions are via vector diagrams connected. And this helps to find a kind of a structure in a mass load of pictures and text and what have you. And
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm trying to understand, because I saw the TechEd announcement on Vector Engine, and with vectors I see images, pictures. That's what I have in my mind.
Yeah.
But I have difficulty translating data topic into vector, into images.
What they basically do, because we are talking unstructured data, and using the vector technology, you try to a certain extent structure the patterns of the unstructured data, and that is what they're doing in the vector engine. And it allows us, and this is why I said AI in my first top 3. The whole thing is that it allows because you get some structure in that data now with the pictures and the images, it can feed and connect to large language models. So meaning if you have a large language model and Twan has a large list of pictures and text and what have you, you can connect that and get value out of it. So the example that is shown over there, they had a very complex question about a workflow for a certain product. So how to build a workflow, I don't know what the product was. So what they did, they loaded the full help guide of that product.
Oh, SP Graph.
Was it SP Graph?
Yeah.
They loaded the full help guide in the HANA Vector Engine. And because the answer to the solutions, there are possibly multiple scenarios to build that workflow, but they asked the HANA Vector Engine to search for the most optimal one. And that technology can apparently do that. And quite impressive. So it's one of the big announcements that they had. I also need to be a big boy in terms of real technicalities. Twan, I don't have all the answers to your question.
No.
I also need to sort out.
But
I think it starts also with definitions. It's like, what is a vector? And that's where, a vector is basically something in a certain context. Like, for instance, it's not necessarily an image, by the way. It could be an apple.
Yep.
If you say, like, my apple is broken, it means that my phone is, not working properly. But if you say something like, I eat an apple, that's a different story, right? So the word defined, the context defined what the word actually means.
Yep.
And that means that every time you say something like apple, but in a different context, it gets a different vector. So that AI can understand what the word is about. Now, there's been an open SAP course on this.
Oh.
On artificial intelligence at SAP. And I followed this course.
Explain in that one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's artificial intelligence at SAP, opensap.com. And that's where they explain all this terminology on AI. It's been really useful. And now I understand what a vector actually is. Yeah.
Cool.
Before that I didn't.
And we'll link the link to that one also in the show notes.
No, but your clarification helps a ton, But I think it's your job, Jan, and my job, and your job as well, Twan, that we try to for our customers and our colleagues, maybe we need to write down a few examples and a few use cases, so then things starts resonating and making sense to people.
Yeah, the TechEd message is of course interesting for us because we like to learn about the latest and greatest what's possible with business technology from SAP.
Yeah.
But then if you look at what customers are actually doing right now, of course some exceptions there, but that's from the TechEd message from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's always, so we need to have practical examples to explain also to our customers what has been announced.
Yeah. No, makes sense. But it was one of the things, it's clearly related to the world of artificial intelligence. And, bottom line, almost all the announcements had, to a certain extent, a hook in AI, of course.
Yeah.
And
every product,
that impressed me.
So if you look at BTP with the 5 pillars, but every one of the pillars has AI in it.
So I wonder why there's this uprise of the whole topic, by the way. Why
the whole world is talking about it?
Well, yeah, but why? Why is the whole world talking about AI? What's different? What's the game changer here?
No, yeah, it's what if you, for example, ask Timo, he says, if you should start using AI because you can do your job faster and smarter. And that's not only that you have AI in your tools, but also you ask things to explain to you, like you also did just before the podcast, to explain what is a specific feature, and that you can be faster in your.
That's something new, of course.
Yeah, but then translated it to SAP is interesting. Is it just like it's going to be like with the ABAP code, so that's generating ABAP code, or is it generating Java code, or is it generating business rules, or is it generating a process, or is it generating or understanding the question that you have, like with Just BI? Just Ask. Just BI is a company, sorry. Just Ask, where you just ask in English what kind of information you want to have represented in SAP Analytics Cloud, and then it understands what you mean.
Yeah, maybe the whole thing about generative, like you mentioned, it generates ABAP. And Timo Elliott said something like you tell it something and it gives you something back. The whole generation thing, the whole generative AI, is probably something that changed over time in the last year or so.
Yeah.
But I think your remark is interesting, Jan. So you said, hey, why suddenly the fuss? I think around AI, and my take is, I think there are a few elements over here playing. Yeah. So first of all, the technical readiness is there. That's one. Yeah. Second, let's be big boys. The moment that the people around you, your competitors or similar companies are doing that, if you don't follow, you're gonna lose. Yeah. But second, look at our customers, and I think the need is even there. The world is so bloody dynamic, so bloody agile. Yeah, you need AI to stay competitive. You need to find a way to be more efficient, to be quicker, to find more information out of the data that you have. Yeah, better information out of the data that you have. That is growing exponentially. So I think it does make sense that the AI fuss is starting right now. It does make sense, and I think it's a good idea that we jump on it. Yeah, that we do our thing there. And one of the things that I noted in all the discussions and all the announcements that we did, but one of the things that what I really like what we do on AI is that we, apart from all the Jules and Just Ask, and we will touch all of them, we built an open ecosystem, saying, we are not the best at everything. Yeah? If Google has better algorithms, we open up the ecosystem. Let's all use that algorithm. Why should we reinvent? And that is what I like about the whole AI proposition that we do. That we work with an open ecosystem, and that you use tech that's already there, and maybe even better than you own or whatever. That's good. Yeah,
we leverage basically the AI services that our partners provide. They're good at it, and it's our job to basically collect them all.
Yep.
The Chat GPT and the Alf something, and the Bing and the Dart, etc. And the Chat GPT 4 that we have now with 20 billion vectors or something, and then vectors.
How many exactly?
20 billion. That's the rumor, at least. And then it's all available in this single playground. Yeah, in the single playground to which we can connect our future smart applications to. And we can define, or we can use the engine of our partner that is most applicable or gives the best results for a certain use case. How awesome is that? That's what SAP is doing now.
And there was a thing, Jan, so and I'm super happy to be in a podcast today, because I already for 2 weeks have a question in my mind, and I think you're the only one who... So I'm at the TechEd over there, and then suddenly they bring sub-built code, and impressive technology, and of course at a certain moment you want to make it tangible, so they start demoing it, and they started, like you said, they just asked the application to build the code, so they said, I need a, the example was that they wanted to run an event for something, and I need an event app, where people can subscribe, and a title, and you can. Where are we really going in that direction? That I hope we still always need to code, I assume, or is it really is it really gonna be auto-generated all, or what's your thinking there?
It's a good question. I think if you look at how SAP was doing things, we had this movement from ECC to S4. I think that's clear, right? And then we had all those people that were programming away in ECC and had the customizations there. And then they suddenly had to move to S4, and they said, oh my God, these are all SAP GUI, DIMPRO, and non-whitelisted API kind of stuff that's directly connecting to the data model. We have to re-engineer everything. How are we going to do that? And then SAP said, no worries, customers. We're going to help you do this fast. So we're going to have some tools around low code, no code, so that you can model your application rather than have to program out everything again. And that ran it to a certain increase. And then we said, of course, if you do use pro-code environments, you can do it pixel perfect. You can have mobile use cases and offline scenarios and stuff. But most of the use cases don't require that. So you can use the low-code environment. Low-code environment gives you the performance and the fast and the speed to market, and that's etc. And pro-code takes you a little bit more time, but use that then for the use cases that you... But now it seems to tilt with all the generative AI that we can build code with. I mean, generative ChatGPT and the likes, they can build code like no other in that sense. So it kind of makes you wonder, what's faster now? Is it faster to build applications using low-code, no-code technology? Or are we back to square one? And are we going to build applications using pro-code technology, but with ChatGPT and Joule, etc., and the likes, to make that process even go faster?
Interesting. Interesting. You see where we're heading. But still, if you look at the days that we were really actively programming for our customers, and then if you go to a new customer and it has he has a sort of similar question, you always took the code from your last customer, you took it with you copied it into the system, and you're going to adapt it. I think that's... No?
This is probably a public secret, but something with intellectual property, etc. And then I finish off here.
Okay, of course you're not going to. But basic components of your programming, you have to redo that for every customer. So not the code that's really different for a specific customer, where the customer differentiate, because you cannot copy that, of course. But like if you handling a list, handling input from a screen, all those you had to program it yourself every time again. But what you did is you copied that from. That's at least what I did. Try to be faster by copying it from the last time.
Yep.
That is what ChatGPT or generative AI is going to do.
Yeah, and that's also what low code is trying to hide. I mean, all the code that you have to put in place just to make that back button work. That's crazy that you have to code so much in order to just get a back button to work, right? Yeah. And that's what low code is taking away, because you just plunge that back button into your canvas and off you go. And in pro code with ChatGPT, it just programs that kind of stuff automatically as well.
Yeah, so you get the basic application, that's what you get generated, and of course you have to ask the right question. So like prompt engineering, that's what we all discussed also before, which is really important. How do you ask for something? It's kind of an assistant, prompt engineering, and if you ask the wrong question, you get also the wrong result, and that's will become very important. So how do you ask the question to have this event app? And what do you all take in with that? But the nice thing is, of course, if you have asked the basic version and you want to extend it, you can still ask your chat colleague, hey, can you also extend the app? And that's really powerful. But then to fine tune it, that's where the low code, no code.
What the fun thing about it is, if you go to ChatGPT and the likes, and if you ask for something, if you throw a prompt in there, there's something that they call temperature. And this temperature, the higher it is, the more unlikely the same answer comes out, right? So you can ask it a question, and if it's write me a summary of what SAP is all about. If you do it the second time around, you get a different answer. So if you do this with code, if you tell the system to write a ticketing system based on business partner and SAP, etc., you get a certain application. And if you do it the second time around, you get a different application.
Ooh.
So that means that customer A with the same prompt has a different application than customer B. So your intellectual property is warranted. How's that? Awesome, now?
Looking into the future. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay, but is your question answered or
No, well, to a certain extent, I'm not a code expert, but I was impressed by what they show, and you can see so many good cases, Twan. But I was just wondering, my question came from a whole other angle. I know that every company struggles to find developers, to find people that are skilled, and it intrigued me. Is this going to help them, and does this make life easier for them? I would argue yes, but and they just showed an example. They said build me your application, and click next. Are you sure? Yes, finish, done.
Yeah, and at a certain point in time, I was thinking okay, then you have your application. How do you connect it to your existing backend?
Yeah.
And then I saw this guy taking the API from an existing backend, throwing it into ChatGPT, and telling it to connect to that API.
And it just does it.
It just does it.
Yeah, I saw it.
So even integration experts are basically out of a job soon.
no, they cannot do their job faster.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And even more integrations in the same. No, it's cool, but Twan, there are so many more. So we built code was a good one, but on a complete other topic, no, not a complete other topic, but also in the analytics space, they had a few cool ones. So they indeed had just ask. So that is in the Google way, you ask your question, your insights question, your BI question, and it auto creates not only the correct graph, it automatically knows what graph type. So if you say, show me the products for the last 2 years, it understand means filtering, the current year, last year, actual versus budget. So it understands I need to look at a planning model and compare those. It chooses exactly the right chart type and all that stuff. So they showed it over there. I think it's going to be available in February.
Oh, that's true.
There was a second reason why they showed it, is because Just Ask is the big analytics section that is used in Joule. Yeah, so if you in Joule use insights information, you see Just Ask. Another thing in analytics that seemed small, but for me is all about BTP, is that they had a second announcement over there. It was the lightweight viewer in SAP Analytics Cloud. Yeah, so it is like the word says, it is a very slimmed down version where you can consume dashboards, and as such, it loads and it performs way quicker. What they didn't tell, I think, is the real reason why lightweight viewer is so cool. It's a composable component. I can talk to you, Jan, and say, let's give me some advice on building an application, and I'm having with you. I need a small piece of automation in my application, and I also need an API. And then at the end, I need a little component to consume the data in the API, and I take the lightweight viewer. And isn't BTP all about that? Yeah, BTP is all about composability, and the lightweight viewer is just one of the top components. If you need consumption in an app, just use that one. That's where it's meant to be for. So I thought it seemed small, but it's bigger than you think, I believe. So really cool. Yeah,
that's the interesting part. With the three of us on the table, I think Jan and I have similar background and in development and integration, and you come from the analytics part. So bring the analytics topics to the table, because I think I've missed that lightweight one. I've missed that one.
Yeah. So the lightweight view, and to continue on the analytics parts, of course, when it is to analytics, big play, and I think getting bigger every time. I think, Twan, all your customers have a data lake. Your customers have probably multiple data lakes. My customers all have data lakes, and they have S4s. And of course, those environments need to talk to each other. Yeah. And we see, of course, one of the things we often bring to the table there is DataSphere. Yeah. We call that hyperscaler interoperability. Yeah. How does S4 talk to a data lake in two directions? Well, DataSphere plays a role there. But what is the big problem if customers who offload data from BWs and S4s to data lakes is that all the logic, relations, currency settings, all that is all gone. And that is what we, of course, try to prevent with DataSphere. That's why we all talk about it keeps the context, it understands the relations, it understands all that logic. Well, they announced a second phase over there. They called it easy onboarding. And what they showed is they are in DataSphere, they connect to S4, to CDS views, and then you just single click the objects that you want to use in your fabric, in your central data warehouse, and you see they proved over there how all the logic is coming. So all the relations are immediately there available in the model. All the formulas, all the hierarchies, you don't have to do a single click. And I think that's a big one. That is so crucial if you because all our customers have we built that logic in data lakes, and with DataSphere you should not need it to do that anymore.
You keep your context, you keep your business context.
Pretty cool stuff.
To be honest, Iver, I've never bought into the concept of a data lake. I found it was a Me Too kind of thing. It's very fashionable, but it lost security, it lost semantics, it lost everything. And then I came across customers that said, I want all the prices of SAP to be available in my data lake as well. So just give me access to the tables. I will dump everything that's in the pricing condition tables to my data lake. As if you can ever make the same content out of it anymore.
I had the same question with HR data, which is also stupid to have in a data lake.
But guys, we can. I think we all three agree. I'm maybe the biggest in the biggest agreement with you. Yes, I never understood that, but we also need to face the fact. Yeah, 9 out of the 10 companies have done that. Yeah, so that's reality today. Yeah, so they all. There's also good stuff about data lakes, but the point is indeed, like you say, Twan and Jan, the moment you export, you offload data from an SAP ecosystem into a lake, all the logic is gone. You need to rebuild it, and that's what all the companies have been doing. And if something changes, you rebuild it again. And now we have technology. DataSphere is one of the players there that prevents from doing that, and that is cool. And that is a big ticket item. Yeah, I think that's good stuff.
Yeah, the whole concept of data virtualization, federation. That's extremely powerful. I think just keep it in the systems there are, and then have your analytics over those systems. And the concept of course of data lakes and putting things back on a disk-based storage, while most of the customers are sitting on this supercharged turbo HANA system. I didn't get it. You should be virtualizing your data rather than putting it back on a disk. And it's like going back in a few decades to disk where we were before, right?
You had to change the disk every night.
That was a floppy disk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
No, so those were the big ones, And I think knowing you a bit, Twan, I think you will like Edge Cell, I believe, with Integration Suite. That was cool. Cool
I think some customers, at least in the Netherlands, are already waiting for that. And that's I think can make them happy with that. Yeah. And if so, we just touched upon on the AI topic, and so are we going to lose a job in no integration consultants anymore? So how was the vibe in receiving the message that a lot of is going to be generated? How was the vibe on the floor at TechEd?
Well, what I felt, let me first say what not the vibe was. So I don't think there was a kind of a vibe of, am I losing my value here? Am I needed or whatever? I think that people, and that's by the way common talking to customers as well. I think people rather see the opportunities of things that you can do extra.
Yeah.
Also, Twan, let's not forget, I was in a panel last week about the ethics around AI and Gen AI. Yeah, so we are, you can say whatever you want from SAP, but we are very, very, very bloody strong in respecting the ethics. So a Gen AI system can never, ever feed another Gen AI system. We always target a user persona for a good reason. Yeah, so that it stays ethical, as we say. So no, I think the vibe that I saw was a vibe of enthusiasm, looking for doing new things, better things, higher quality, but not so much worrying. I don't know what you think, but I haven't seen that, to be honest.
Well, okay, that's good.
That was what I was thinking as well. This enables a lot beautiful innovations rather than I didn't see it as a threat.
Okay.
Just more interesting innovations coming up.
Yeah, I think you can build stuff faster, and the sooner that you can visualize what you want to build for a customer, the sooner you get feedback, and that saves you a lot of project time, because sometimes we build something and 3, 4, 5, 6 months later we showed it to the customer and they said, that's not quite as I expected it. But now you can do that very fast and also get feedback earlier.
Yeah, it's also a matter of putting things in a slightly different perspective. I mean, previously, I think a few decades ago, we were talking about things like decision support systems, right? Where we had systems that are basically taking decisions for us based on certain metrics. So if certain threshold values were exceeded, then some alerts would go off. And that's being superseded now. That was based on algorithms. So if the threshold is higher than this and this and this, but now we have this AI system that can basically monitor everything and can look at anomalies and then immediately act. That's really cool, and that's why I mean with the innovation. That's previously wasn't possible. So now we can have the tools in place, or we do have the tools in place that allow us to craft these kind of things, which is I think really useful and really cool as well. So it's more at the innovative edge than I think as seen as a threat.
Yeah. So now we have announced the technology at TechEd, and Sapphire is in May, I guess, somewhere. So can we expect more, but then more on the business application side at Sapphire?
Yep. I think it's a bit my personal prediction, but also talking to some of the owners over there. So a few things I believe are important. And I look with my passion and my background to the topic. So main thing that you can expect one is using AI for simulation. Yeah. What happens if I do this? Yeah. So my name is Twan. I'm running my garden mini company. I decorate gardens. What if I hire somebody in my mini organization, and what will be the result of my margin, to name a Mickey Mouse sample? Or I introduce a new product, how would that land in my so that simulation technology, that will be a very big use case, and you will see more announcements coming in that space. Well, I think where I'm enthusiastic, where I'm looking at, bluntly said, I'm a bit provocative here on the table, but the way that I look to AI, I think AI can never be successful if you have not prepared, cleaned, and if you don't have your data ready. Yeah? So AI without a decent data,
it starts with data. Yeah.
For me, it doesn't work. And second, we can build brilliant AI with the three of us, put it here on the table, but it doesn't do a thing. Yeah. So if I can't integrate my AI in a process or an application, it is also a use case. And that brings me back to my pre-love topics, data and integration. And that's how I look at AI. Yeah. That's where I come in with customers. I'm going to talk the data and integration topics with them. So that's a bit the way I look to it. So let it come.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Embrace the opportunities instead of see it as a threat, but then see what you can do.
I like what you said. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah. Embrace opportunities.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Applause.
Oh
no.
Applause.
Wrong button.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are you breathing on a difficult question, Jan?
Of course, this is always a difficult question.
De moeilijke vraag van Jan.
Oeh.
Nou, Jan.
Dus, Iver, aan jou. Weet jij of er...
In Engels, hè?
Do you know? Thank you. Do you know that if next year we can expect TechEd to be back at multiple locations?
Or at least in Barcelona.
I think I know. And I'm gonna wildly guess. So have you looked a little bit where TechEd was the last few
We
years?
tried ChatGPT, but it didn't know.
Yeah. So this year it was in India.
Uh-huh.
The year before it was in the US, Las Vegas.
So where do you guys expect it's going
Barcelona.
to be next time? Yeah, so it's going to be, I think we're touring around, of course, yeah. So North America it was, then Asia this year. So chances are high it's going to be in Europe. And then if you look at the scale of the event, Jan, I don't think too many possibilities. I would wild guess from my side, Barcelona, Milan. I don't know. Can London host these amounts?
We had it in Amsterdam and Berlin.
Yeah, but Amsterdam was a small location.
Yeah.
But
But traditionally,
then still had 3 ones. So
traditionally we had 4 locations. We had
yeah.
Americas, we had Europe, we had Bangalore, and we had Shanghai.
Yeah.
So if we had Americas and Bangalore already, 2 potential locations are remaining.
That could be, that might be a good one. What I know is that they circulate, you've seen the same email, all the other events are more or less defined. Also the bigger public ones, Sapphire and that stuff, but TechEd is still a bit of a secret. So, my best bet, no commit, but I put my $5 on Europe, Jan.
Amsterdam would be convenient, right? In the summer.
Yeah, but it's not so warm.
That's true.
Yeah. It's been 2 times in Amsterdam.
And the espresso in Italy and Spain is better.
Yeah.
And we can make our road movie again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, provided we invited.
That's true. But you should talk to the community managers then.
Yes.
To Craig and his friends. Yeah. Okay. Anything? So you've been also to other TechEd. So we have talked about the content, but now more about the event experience. Is the event experience in India different than, for example, compared to Europe or America?
No. What I've seen, yes. For me, it was, and I know it's a bit of a bummer, yeah. But for me, this was the best one I have seen, for a few reasons. Yeah, first of all, I think the guys. I don't know if you had a look who was on stage and the way they go there and the high rotation speed. Every time showing things, making tangible, here's my new drink, I'll show it to you. And they opened up a use case, very well orchestrated. Second, of course, if you look at India, there was Sindhu was there on stage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she owns labs. Don't shoot me, Twan, but she said something. It was either that India is becoming the 3rd or the 2nd economy in the world very soon. And she gave more of those examples. You are blown away by the knowledge of those people. The education level extremely high. Yeah. If you look at the questions,
so the motivation of the people,
the motivation, So to answer your question, how fun was it? It was brilliant. It's nice to be there. Good atmosphere, smart people, good questions. People don't come with an empty bag. Prepared. They're already. They did their homework, they study a bit where they are going to visit, they look already at the product a little bit, they have their questions prepared. Good stuff. Well organized with the wonderful Indian clumsiness. So only 10,000 people come into the big TechEd room. And what do people want to do? The first thing they're there, apart from going to the bathroom, they want to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Of course, yeah.
And the Minister of Defense had decided there was an event next to TechEd that he gave that other event all the Wi-Fi capacity, so to say. So 10,000 people had no Wi-Fi. Well, you won't accept it anywhere, but there you accept it, no problem.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice story.
And good food.
Yeah.
Fantastic food.
Absolutely.
Good food, very A beautiful city, by the way. Whoa,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know it, and I like to be in India. It feels very, you feel welcome, you feel home. I like it.
This is what I learned from customer engagement with Indian companies as well, Indian customers as well.
Yeah, I know you
That
told me.
even the folks that are on the, in the IT department of our customers, you don't have to tell them anything. They read all the blogs of the community. All of them.
Yeah. Super prepared. Super prepared.
Yeah, they absorb a lot of information and
Absolutely.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's wrap up today's episode. So, Jan, what would be your advice to our listener regarding SAP TechEd?
Yeah, just go there and
Okay, but
preferably in person. To be this is what I'm missing. Of course, during COVID and stuff, we couldn't go there, and we had to do everything virtually. But nowadays, there's a chance again to really connect, and connection is a very important topic, I think, for SAP TechEd. Not only to digest the information, but also to connect to your peers and to back to the family, back to the community again.
Yeah, okay, but that's visiting next year's TechEd. But
Yeah.
for if you have not visited TechEd, is there maybe a session that you recommend, or what should people do with the TechEd information that's still available?
Oh, there's way too many. Well, at least have a look at the keynotes, and from there on, you can develop your own learning journey based on your personal interest.
We didn't even touch upon the developer keynote where they took a picture of the
Yeah.
whiteboard and then it was also generated into an application.
Correct.
So that's also a recommendation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Iver, a recommendation from your side to our listener?
Yeah, two ones. Yeah, so apart from what Jan already said, I think if you're really interested in TechEd, you just talk to your local SAP office. There are guys like us in every country in the world, super enthusiastic. They have all the info. Super happy to summarize. We will post a few links, I think, under this podcast. Second thing, and I take the opportunity, Twan, if you allow me. So
Sure.
I run a LinkedIn group where we only talk best practices and products.
You'll
So no
do
sales
cash.
talk, marketing talk allowed.
So
Cool.
It's a wrong
30
jingle.
Oh, sorry.
13,000 customers already attending. So all the blogs and details I post 3 or 4 a day. It's all there. So just follow it. We put a link under the podcast.
The
Yeah,
B2B
speaking
connection.
of which, by the way, before you give your tips, right? But the whole thing about connecting to your SAP office, we would love to have more people explaining what they learned from SAP TechEd or elsewhere in the podcast.
So maybe we can record next year's TechEd episode at TechEd show floor together with the three of us.
Let's make that deal.
Yeah?
Yep.
Right now.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what would be my suggestion is maybe you can share the top 3 of yourself on SAP TechEd in the show notes as a reaction on LinkedIn or a reaction on the podcast. Of course, you have to look into the enterprise automation stuff, especially for the business process automation. I'm doing a fellowship. Yeah, so I'm promoting the product that I'm working with. No, but that's really fun to play with the bots and with the process automation, and that's I think that's a personal recommendation. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks.
All right, then thank you for visiting our cafe, Iver.
Pleasure. Yeah. Super nice and nice to talk to you again. You know, each other a lot, but this is cool.
Thank you, Jan, for visiting again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Twan.
En dan.
Dankjewel voor het luisteren naar deze aflevering van HANA Café Nederland. Heb je feedback voor ons? Laat het dan zeker weten. Wil je ook een keer aanschuiven in het café? Stuur ons een berichtje en geef gelijk aan waar je het over wilt hebben. Tot de volgende keer!
I should have asked my daughter to translate the text. It's in Dutch.
This was in Dutch.
See you next time.
Cheers.